During the pandemic, 96% of churches have been broadcasting their worship service online. 48% of churchgoers have not watched any worship service. Only 40% of churchgoers report watching their own church service online. This is data from the Barna Research Group article titled "The New Sunday Morning." And there was a follow-up article saying 1 in 3 Christians have stopped attending church altogether during the pandemic. So what are we to do? Remember, 96% of churches report online worship services. So the majority of self-professing, practicing Christians have the option. And I would assume even the newest of believers knows that we should be regularly plugged in to a worship service of some sort. Is it a matter of production value? Technology does move at a rapid pace and there's always room for improvement, but I don't think that's the real issue here. There's a sense of community that happens when we meet in person. It can't be replicated online. Many churches, they still don't have the option to meet in person. Now don't get me wrong, we primarily go to church to worship God. But another very important reason is to fellowship with other believers. Regardless, we do the best we can given this situation. Hebrews 10:23, let us hold unswervingly to the hope we profess, for he who promised is faithful. And let us consider how we may spur one another on towards love and good deeds, not giving up meeting together, as some are in the habit of doing, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. The Christian hope is assured because the one who promised is 100% faithful. Jesus will return, and until he returns, Christians are to spur one another on towards love and good deeds. The Greek word to consider comes from a compound of 2 thoughts. First, it's something moving from top to bottom. And second, the mind, to think, to ponder. So the combination of these 2 thoughts, it's to think about something, to ponder, to consider something from top to bottom, fully examining it, studying it, knowing it. And what are we to carefully consider? One another. As brothers and sisters in Christ, we are to carefully consider, ponder, study one another metaphorically from top to bottom. We figure out what the ups and downs are, what our highs and lows, what triggers good or bad. And this doesn't come by accident. It's purposeful, it's intentional, it takes much time and effort. The Greek word for spur also comes from a combination of 2 thoughts. Para, which means alongside, it's where we get paralegal from. And the second thought is to sharpen. And so the combination of these 2 thoughts means someone who comes alongside to sharpen. Christians are to come alongside one another, to spur each other on, to sharpen one another towards love and good deeds. And even in the midst of a pandemic, this calling remains the same, that we are to come alongside one another, to sharpen, to spur each other on. So let me leave you with 4 applications. Number 1, be creative and find ways to build relationships safely. Number 2, allow others to know you. Number 3, be open to sharpening. And number 4, don't be afraid to sharpen others in love within the context of a built relationship. Brothers and sisters, this is our commitment to one another in our spiritual family, ultimately so that we would become more Christ-like and God would receive greater glory. Thanks for joining us today. We release quick Bible thoughts like this every Wednesday, and if they're at all helpful to you, would you consider subscribing? I appreciate you. Be blessed and peace.